IGN Live at San Diego Comic-Con. Vampires might prefer the shadows, but everyone knows TV producers prefer California sunshine. Joining me now are Jemaine Clement, Paul Sims, and Stefani Robinson, who helped bring what we do in the shadows to the small screen. Hey guys, thanks for being here.
Hi.
Thank you.
So obviously I just said it, you guys brought a movie to life and created an entire series around it. How did you do that while giving new viewers context but keeping things fresh?
Just starting with new characters and a new place, and that's enough, really.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, with having Jemaine and Taika writing and directing and being involved, it just automatically maintained the funny tone that we all liked in the movie.
Yeah. Well, because as a big fan of the movie, I felt like I was a little worried going in that it would feel redundant, but I never necessarily found myself being like, oh, I already saw this in the movie, or oh, this was already done, even though some of the notions that were new and interesting, like, for example, having Guillermo as a familiar, I loved that bit. I loved the idea of the lore. So how did you build on the lore while keeping things still familiar to fans?
Well, we know that more people will probably see the show than saw the movie, because it's just a small movie from New Zealand. So some of it we repeat, like rules of being a vampire and things like that. But then it's just another group of different vampires, different people.
Yeah.
And
I think, approaching it as more as a companion piece and less as a sequel or a spin-off or whatever those, like, those words are.
Yeah, we didn't
separate group
do a remake.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
So speaking of rules of being a vampire, how did you go about that? Are there actual rules of being a vampire that you guys researched, or did you just make everything up?
Well,
by research, watching vampire movies.
We had some books.
We had a pile of books.
Jemaine and Taika had been working on the movie in some form or another for so long that Jemaine has very specific. Jemaine is the rule book about how vampires behave, at least within this world.
Okay.
So we'll often say, well, how about they do this? And Jemaine says vampires would never do that. And we would say, how do you know? He says, I've been studying this for 15 years now.
So you're kind of like the king of the vampires in a way, like the Grandmaster.
I'm more like an encyclopedia.
Okay, that's
small
fair.
encyclopedia.
A small encyclopedia. So why vampires then? Why not werewolves? Well, I guess there are werewolves.
Well, when we made the film version, it's just addressing. Both Taika and I really like vampire movies, and we've seen a lot.
Yeah.
But there were lots of logical problems, and we're just like showing the logical problems and also showing it from the vampire's side.
So I wondered this while I was watching the show. How do vampires make money? They live in a very large house.
We were just we were starting to write the next season over the last few weeks, and we had a few discussions about that too. But think about it; they've had that house for 200 years.
That's
they
true.
obviously have not put a lot of money into keeping it upkeep of the house.
But I imagine
it's
a lot of the
still
stuff
the value
they
would go
own is very valuable, right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
But our vampires are budgeting.
They're good budgeters.
They're sharing a house.
Colin seems like he'd be really good at keeping like a family budget in line.
Yeah, I think so. He'd be very good with
like
a
one of
spreadsheet.
those roommates in a house who comes and tells you that you used 1/4 of the refrigerator, so you should pay $23 more for your rent. Yeah.
Exactly. And speaking of Colin, I just love the idea of an energy vampire. What other types of vampires maybe you can hint at that might pop up in season 2?
We can't really tell you that. We've only just started writing season 2.
But
fair answer.
we will see more of the secret subworld that exists alongside our regular world. The same way we didn't know vampires walked amongst us in season 2. I think there's a little more secret things about the world that will be revealed.
Ooh.
Yeah, we have some more creatures and things.
Creatures. Wait, that's fun. Like I'm not even gonna look at you, but maybe like a swamp monster. I want a swamp monster, but I want to be surprised.
It's in.
Okay, so there's been so many vampire movies. You definitely know. We just talked about that. How did you get all of those cameos? Literally anyone who's ever played a vampire ended up coming and playing a vampire.
Well, it started off with Tilda Swinton, who Only Lovers Left Alive and What We Do in the Shadows, the movie, were at the same festival, and she said, sometimes we got to have our vampire characters do something together.
Yeah.
Just lock that away, and then we knew we had her, and then everyone else we just tried.
We had a pretty extensive hit list too
Yeah.
at one point.
And it was never. We had to shoot the part without the famous vampires first, so there was a lot of shooting it with stand-ins and then keeping our fingers crossed that we would actually get the people that we wanted. And the very last one we got was Wesley Snipes, which was very exciting.
Who was Skyping in. Was he originally supposed to be Skyping in?
Yes.
Okay.
And at one point, when it looked like we couldn't get Wesley Snipes, I said to Jemaine, can't we just change to have another famous vampire? Jemaine said, it's not funny to me if it's not Wesley Snipes.
I'm not sure why.
So the
I think that's hard to explain.
The main answer to your question is stubbornness, I think, is how we ended up getting such a great
I
group.
like that, though. You know what you want and go after it. That feels like a very vampire thing. I feel like vampires have to be really stubborn if they are attacking people.
They can be
for
quite
food.
obsessive. Yeah.
Right? Obsessive. That's a good word. Eye on the prize. So Nadia is a crawler. Jenna can go invisible. What other vampire superpowers are there?
Well,
there's
Nandor.
hypnotism.
Hypnotism.
That's a good one.
It's a good general one.
Yeah.
That's a good
Nandor
one.
has some light pyrokinesis, being able to
Okay.
light things on fire with his mind.
And he can turn into a smoke or a mist.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
What would you want as a vampire superpower?
I mean, flight's the obvious one.
Is it? I thought invisibility would be mine.
Okay.
But this
I
flight you
think-
talk about, this sounds...
You're interested?
Yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah. No more traffic.
Yeah.
No more traffic.
Right? No more traffic.
Hypnotism would be pretty cool.
That sounds like a big
Although, but
responsibility.
I mean, a big responsibility how?
Because you're responsible then for what you make another person do.
Yeah, I guess you open an ethics question where if you're just
I
traveling.
mean, you're already a
then-
vampire.
Yeah.
Are
You
there
have
any
to-
ethics?
That's
You have
true.
to drink blood to keep these powers up as
Yeah.
only.
I feel like since
That's
it's
another
ingrained in the
ethical-
culture, it gets a pass for ethics somehow. You're killing
Sure,
people, but
yeah.
it's fine.
It's what you have to do. You have no choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think what makes what we do in the shadows so magical is just the world and the lore. Do you start with a point of lore that you kind of want to expose or a plot point and then kind of build the lore into something that would support the plot?
I feel like it's gone both ways. A lot of it is thinking about funny things you've seen in vampire movies, or like Jemaine was saying, things that just aren't very logical when you look at them closer, and then examining what would it be like if you saw people actually, or vampires actually doing those things.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what makes it so great is it's this satire of American life and like just the mundanes of life with vampires, which what's not to love.
I think this is the best interview we've ever
I
done.
know,
this is
yeah,
like
I
a
think this is
real
really-
someone who
It's in
actually really watches the
I
show.
tell you, I love
it.
this show. I'm not kidding. I was going to say a word that I'm not allowed to say on air. Anyways, thanks guys so much for coming by. What We Do in the Shadows will return for a brand new season next year on FX. We have to take a quick break, but IGN Live at Comic-Con will be right back.